must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Thank you very much, viewers. Good morning, viewers, wherever you are across Africa, in the world, and listening, watching us, Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Political Command Center and across in Africa, in Nairobi, Kenya. Good morning, Miriam Ogutu.
Doc, good morning to you and good morning to our viewers.
Thank you very much. The panel today is full. We have Dr. Titus Mutwiri, who is joining as a microbiologist. And I think he studies the air molecules, how they move and how things work. Are we having a reoccurrence of the COVID coming the Indian way? So India allowed a lot of campaigns, and you saw what I followed later. So we shall come back to you, sir, and talk to you about these many campaign rallies where people are not masking, not keeping the protocols. I will talk to you about it. But today's topic, my panel is in-house panel, Sharon, the legacy trend, lady who watches the legacy trend of President Uhuru Kenyatta. What are the achievements? That is her role on this platform. What has he achieved? What can be achieved? What are the obstacles? And then we have Tawish, also the legacy trend, watching what can we do for our presidency, the president to have a legacy. What programs can be completed today? And then Miriam, of course, is the main punchliner herself at the headquarters, our senior anchor for almost 4 years. We have been together, Miriam, and we have been doing a job for the community. Our shows usually are bold. We speak our mind. And welcome to the show, Dr. Titus Mutwiri. Now, the topic of today is very interesting, Miriam. Politics of insults. Are we going back to 2007? Anybody who was here in 2007 would tell you that the atmosphere was charged the same way, where people call others matapeli, tapeli, conman, jikeugeu. Some of the Swahili words I might not be able to pronounce because I'm not a fluent Swahili speaker, but Miriam is. So are we, my question to the panel, just yes or no, have we started the journey of 2022 on a wrong basis? When you hear elections, the turn up, the registration turn up apathy, you have seen not everybody is interested because people can't register to be beaten. You know, there is you cannot be registering for someone to come and beat you up. People are fed up with election, that they are more concerned with something else. Are we really preparing for an election when the electoral commissioner is telling us, the chairman is telling us he doesn't even have the money? Have we prepared for this election? But are we preparing the ground for a bad end for 2022? Sharon, yes or no?
Thank you very much, Dr. Matanga, and good morning to you, Miriam, at the headquarters in Nairobi, and my co-panelists, and to all our viewers watching us across the continent. It is a pleasure to be part of this morning segment show. And yes, I agree that we have started the journey to 2022 on quite a wrong foot, and it's quite unfortunate. If you look at all the systems from IEBC being unprepared to how the rallies are being conducted, I think we are on a wrong note. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The same question goes to Tawish. Tawish, you have been there. You and I have been veterans of this. We saw this in 2007 together with you in the GBS. You remember when you started interviewing me and so many other things. Are we preparing for disaster for 2022 with insults and other slogans that are coming that could actually influence and turn the atmosphere toxic?
Thank you so much, Dr. Masanga, and thank you to the rest of the panel, as well as, of course, the viewers who are watching the program. Indeed, Dr. Masanga, I can't agree more with the observation in as far as our preparedness ahead of next year's general election is concerned. Whatever is happening, Dr. Masanga, today is more of a recipe for chaos, is a recipe for anarchy, because our politicians have quite completely lost the morals, they have lost the civility, they have lost the respect and honor that comes along with the offices they hold, and more so when it comes to political contestation, Dr. Masanga. I want to challenge our politicians in the country, Dr. Masanga, that as we head into 2022 general election, and if someone doesn't have anything to actually anchor his or her campaign pledges or platform on, they should not resort to blackmail, they should not resort to abuse and hurling insults, and even calling other leaders bad names, like you rightly said, Dr. Masanga, words like conman, words like unprintable words like tapeli. And sometimes you remember even President Uhuru Kenyatta did say that indeed politics in the past, we need to get away from the politics of the past. Politics where they used to call each other, for example, the drunkard, or even Muchawi or Muganga or the conman or Tapeli. Such kind of wording are not very good, does not send a very good message and impression to the young generation, especially those who look up to us as their role models, Dr. Masanga. Because again, we need to exercise our politics with the utmost civility. Even when we disagree, we do not necessarily need to go or to degenerate into hurling insults and abuses so that you can get some political mileage. This is very unfortunate coming from our politicians. And if we are not going to change our politics, if we are not going to change our mindset in as far as how we are doing our politics is concerned, then no doubt, Dr. Masanga and the panel and all our viewers who are watching this program, that we are setting this country up for anarchy, and there's going to be a build-up of intolerance as we head into 2022 general election. I do not think that Kenyans would want even to imagine or to be taken back to what happened in 2007 and 2008. I submit, Dr.
Thank you very much, Tawish. I'm sorry about that. We got interfered with. The basis of my question, Miriam, you have been reading the Kenyan headlines, and you have been seeing exactly what is happening in this country. You have been in this country, you saw all the elections from 2007 to today. You are a native of this country. Are you worried that the type of insults, the type of images, pictures being drawn, cartoons can be drawn, those are part of the culture to laugh, but to draw images of a president with such things like what Boniface Mange has done, are we on the right footing? Surely, don't you think that there is a need of national redemption, to wash ourselves, to clean ourselves, to reconcile, to restitute our behavior, our mindsets? What do you think?
Yes, indeed. And as much as we appreciate the space we have of a free, we do have the freedom of expression and the freedom of, information and all these freedoms that we enjoy, that, people fought, people lost their lives for us to be enjoying these freedoms. And as much as we do have that, I think also we must recognize that freedom must be attached with some level of responsibility, and some level of respect, especially to the person of the president of a country right now, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta, that we see a lot of times is just not there. His own deputy yesterday called him a hypocrite, called him a con man, and he said, it should not be left, for the next years after now, another con man should not come into place. So in a nutshell, he was calling his boss a conman and other names that are not even printable. So the way we've seen our politics going on and some of the words that our leaders choose to use without understanding the impact it has to their followers and the general public, I think it's worrying. And if the trend continues, we are setting a pace for more chaos towards the elections next year. We are setting, they're planting bad seeds that will incite Kenyans, that will bring a lot of, chaos like we've seen in the past elections. And so just as Tawish has said, we can disagree on ideas, but we can do that respectfully. Unfortunately, that is not the nature of our politics, and so I wish that that could be, and our politicians could be a bit more aware of the weight their words carry and what they say and what that means in the bigger fabric of this nation. And they say politics is a dirty game. I think our Kenyan politicians really live true to that word. But nevertheless, also, we've seen the people with the most filthy, foul mouths. They are considered to be the most loyal like when you're filthy, when you're foul, when you're talking, when you're degrading your opponents or people from the party that you don't agree with, then you're considered to be the most loyal. You're considered to be the person who is fighting more for that party. And so a lot of times people like this get rewarded even. So that is the unfortunate nature of our politics. But I think it's worrying, and if the trend continues, that we're setting ourselves to in a very dangerous path that we should not let get there as it has in the past.
Thank you very much, Miriam, Sharon, and Samuel. Let me come to Dr. Titus. Surely you are Kenyan. You are in a medical field. You see a lot of injuries, especially attended to so many other things when it comes to election time. All of you are put on standby and are told no medical personnel will leave the hospital. The type of language that we are now sharpening our tongues, we sharpen the tongues, and we are saying each one is calling each a name. The deputy president seemed to have had what will he do? The belittling his own boss in calling these people conmen, yet he was part of the decisions. For example, why the president is being called a conman is of the BBI. And the president told us that he told him about everything about the BBI. But later on he celebrated when BBI collapsed. And yet BBI could have actually, if we kept it, if it passes through the Supreme Court, it would be better for Kenya to do the BBI first. Me, I don't see the hurry for elections. They don't go away. You are not losing anything. The same people, if they have done very well, Ruto will be elected. Whether 2023, whether 2028, you can elect him if he has done very well. Raila could be elected. Everybody, the elections don't die, but the people die. So the route we are going on, do you think there is a possibility that there will be a free and a fair election?
Thank you, Dr. Matanga. And my concern is ideally after every cycle of elections, we need people that we can, as leaders, we need people that will be left alive for our leadership to hold water. And if, as the former Chief Justice of Kenya, before he left office, he said that he can hear drumbeats of war, and he advised his people and his generals who are left behind that they need to be careful on how they will deal with that. And if the discourse continues as it is at the moment, then our future is quite insecure, because it is the start and the advent of such ones that are unprintable or that are direct attacks to other individuals and other leaders that may be devoid of respect of the possessions we are discussing that trickle down to the population. And the population becomes agitated because our person has been told this and that, and without much thought, then it creates a ripple effect of more ones that keep on coming from people's mouths, which may lead to a very insecure atmosphere and ecosystem for safe elections, for free and fair elections, and we must cut this band before it sprouts further. So my view is that we need a country after every cycle of elections, both the people who want to become leaders and both those who are being led. We need a secure country for us to thrive and for us to have tranquility and peace. So yes, let us avoid, and my advice would be, let us avoid this. And in the politics that we are doing, if I may mention, issues of health and safety of everyone, we cannot have a country after elections where everyone will be dead of COVID. If a new variant sprouts a time like now from any part of this world, the world has been merged to a village, epidemiologically speaking, to a village, because the spread of infectious pathogens can move extremely fast, whether through the sea or through the air or through the plains, and it will jump from one continent to another. And we just need one person with a new variant that is very resistant in a particular political meeting or boardroom, and then the whole country will be up in flames trying to fight variants that are coming. Whether that variant would be responsive to the current vaccine is another question. What if it would be? Then we go back to the drawing board. So on matters, politics and safety of the people, I think it should come first before we even think about elections, because we need a secure country after 2022. Thank you, Dr. David.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Titus Muturi. You have brought a new direction, a new voice, a voice of hope. Krigida told us, Krigida was very clear. He said, be careful. Before 24 months before elections, if the electoral commission is not in place, don't try. Because what would happen would not be the same. It will not be a wedding as usual. It will be worse than the normal, that what happened in 2007. So the electoral commission was recently put in place. It has not found its, all avenues. Already somebody has already got a contract from a company. We have not even received the server. It has never been opened. You can imagine that the 2017 server, Miriam, is still in Paris. They are still sleeping. That is exactly what we are told, that the difference of hours. I don't know how many hours we have taken. How many? 4 years? There is still Tawish. We are still sleeping. And we are talking of holding an election, surely. Now, look at this one. The number of voters, the man projected 19 million. Was it 19 million voters to be registered so far?
About 6,500 or thereabout.
6 million. 6 million.
6 million.
6 million new voters.
6 million, yes.
Which will bring us to about 20 something. Yeah, million people. Yes. But so far, he has not, the registration across the country has not attracted people. Why? Because people don't have enough voter education. They are not well educated. Why should I go to vote? Why should I vote for a policy which is not there? I want to bring one thing that Hitler said. Hitler said that for every German person to be a peaceful at mind, at heart, at stomach and the brain. You should have a box organ, one car each household, every person, not household, every person. The dream did not work. The DP has promised bottom-up policy, where I don't know where it has worked before, but it might not work. Raila's 600,000 per month is workable. Why? It is there already in Adam Smith analysis. If you are an economist, you will see that Adam Smith talked of a social society that you can actually keep somebody looking for a job. When he has 200 shillings in the pocket, he is able to go down the town and find a job or becoming a porter in a hotel. That's working. But are Kenyans as really looking at these issues of which Miriam has talked about this morning in their program? Do you really look at possibilities of the bottom-up working in Kenya, given that if you have too many wheelbarrows, where will you push them? To where? You have avocado in Muranga, they are full of wheelbarrows. You need infrastructure to take these avocados up to China. That's why Uhuru Kenyatta is preparing the roads. But coming to the point that I want to make here, have we as people, if we combine insults, combine poverty, combine anxiety, the doctor will tell you an anxiety, a body that is very anxious, which has anxiety will always have a problem. You are bound to make mistakes. And then you combine the overall atmosphere of no trust, where the head of state is belittled. What disaster are we going to have at the end? The editor's memo thinks that if the BBI passes through the Supreme Court, this is my opinion. I don't know. I will leave it to you people to. If it goes through the Supreme Court, Kenyans should sit back and say, okay, can we implement it? First, it is better to prepare a well-organized election that produces no violence than to prepare a haphazard elections that will produce violence. So for me, the insults are a pointer. The name calling, yes, someone has written, said name calling is normal. But when it goes to telling somebody that your wife is not very good, or your wife is bad, is ugly, any African from Meru or from my mountain or Bugisu, where Mutwiri comes from, I will fight. If you call my wife, you insult my wife publicly, my friend, you have demeaned me publicly. And I'm not, a Mugisu will not wait. I don't know about Tawish. Tawish could look for a spear later on. But if you insult, a man does not want to be insulted in front of a wife. Neither would you insult the wife in front of other men or other people. But the insults that are now coming down, they are coming down to a situation where we are going personal instead of telling Kenyans what should be in their manifesto. Unamwambia watu wakora, makatapeli, they are con men, they con your money. Incitement, you have already created a dynasty. The editor's memo finds the class struggle in Kenya. Therefore, do you people in Kenya agree of Hasora versus dynasty? Isn't it the worst nightmare that Kenya has ever had in their elections? If we go by that basis, how are we going to have a nation of the so-called those whom you claim they have got and those who don't have? Don't you think people from Kibera will rise up and come to the high flats of central Nairobi, break them down, thinking the people are rich, yet we are the same. This is a capitalist state. What is your view on that? But, Doctor, you can open it for us a bit on that one.
Thank you, Dr. Matanga. What I think in this country, what people need is not the promise of money or free money, because whether that is sustainable or not is another question. What people need is also is not just the narrative of the Mama Mboga all of a sudden being able to be, or rather being converted into someone else. We need a practical model, and my view is that what every Kenyan requires is an environment where they can thrive and multiply the little they have within the systems that have been put in place by the government, and where there is deficiency, then the government is trying to improve them so that every person has got an environment to thrive in whatever little thing or whatever big thing they are doing. Because if you deny that poor person, that pauper, an environment to make another penny, then even if you give them money free, or even if you promise them a wheelbarrow or whatever, then that does not count at the end of the day, because you may be wanting to put them in a situation where they will always be in need and always depend on you to continue living. Creation of a platform, creation of an environment that gives them an opportunity every day when they wake up. They know that I'm going to do this, I'm going to my farm, I know I will get transport to sell my produce, is what Kenyans want. They know that when I wake up and I go to even if it is in the market to sell my fruits, I will not be harassed. I will be able to do that in a peaceful environment. That is what they want. If it's someone in the transport sector, they know that when they go to get their matatu, they will not be arrested, they will not be clobbered. That is the environment that everyone wants. Ideally, not an environment of promises that we have received for over 50 years, and some of them have not come to fruition. And at times, these promises come from the same quarters. I feel the Kenyans need to be emotionally intelligent at this moment to know what they want from a leader. And leaders also should not take Kenyans for a ride, to use the same rhetorics over and over again and expect different results, because we cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. We cannot keep the same narrative, same chorus after every span of 5 years and expect miracles. Miracles in this world and in politics don't happen. We just need to create an environment that will help Kenyans thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Titus. You have hit the point which I had in mind. We have to create an environment for the people of Kenya to realize their dream. And I think the way we are going at the moment, Sharon, I don't think we are creating an environment at all. Are we? We are. The environment is not yet there. Everybody is doing. You see now the MPs in Mount Kenya. Some of them, the MPs follow where Deputy President goes. There's no MP who is going back to his constituency to hold a rally without Ruto. It is sad that people have abandoned. And then, coupled with, you are all educated people. I want to ask you this question, as Sharon, you answered this. A man without a degree, can he analyze anything to do with the Constitution of Republic of Kenya? a councillor, a MCA, or an MP without tools of analysis. You have seen the judges ruling that there is no need of a degree in Kenya. You don't need to have a degree in order to go to parliament, surely. And some of the words, Doctor, which are spoken in parliament are very tough English words. And some are very, you need analysis, tools, real, how will you engage in a debate over certain things, let's say on a national budget, national, physical, and monetary. You need that knowledge. Sharon, couple with that and bring up the position that the doctor brought. What do you think?
Thank you very much, Dr. Matanga and Dr. Titus for your sentiments. And indeed, if I start with the question of education for NCAs, I think education is very paramount. That is why you see we keep on talking about things that the Parliament keeps on passing. Just the other day, we've had so much that they keep on saying it's null and void, it's illegal. But then for them to critically be able to look at these things, there's an essence and a very and a need of having education. And if I go back to the question of the first question, I think there's an essence of there's a need of conducting mature politics, and I'd love us to get to a point where like what the Deputy President, notice in every forum that he visits, either he's he's demonizing the BBI or trying to attack the president, or trying to attack the former prime minister. I mean, even in the pulpit, he's one of the people I think even the church had actually to call for, because you find that he would even step in a pulpit, has the audacity to even step in a pulpit and even start attacking these people. And it's quite unfortunate that I would say he's actually the first person on earth to criticize a government that he actually continues to enjoy its benefits and continues to earn. If I was actually the president, I think the president must be a very lenient person. He would have actually, I think just if he had the powers, he would have just sacked him. And I fail to understand if he's really a God-fearing person like he claims, why can't he just, respect the leaders? I believe leaders are chosen by God. So that is where we start. He should actually, start by respecting these the leaders that are there. And I think it's a duty call to all of us, whereby we should, ensure that even in the coming elections, that we bring on board leaders that will be there for posterity and not just for political intent. And I look at countries like Malaysia and Singapore, we equate them to leaders who have been there since time immemorial, and that trickles down to legacy. So we have to be very cautious of the people that we bring on board, not just leaders who are, about giving empty promises. And these are people who have been in government. What have they in government ever since? What have they been able to do? Nothing. If I look at the Deputy President, there are so many empty promises that he's given. I was actually looking at the other day when he talked about issuing laptops to children. I think by that time they were in class 1. Right now they actually could be moving in, approaching high school. So are these the kind of leaders that we honestly need on board? It trickles down to also us as voters. Let us be cautious of the leaders that we bring on board. I submit.
Thank you very much. Tawish, on the similar stand, before we go back to Miriam to bring us up to date with some of the facts on editor's memo.
And Doc, before Tawish comes in, I'm being informed that the video he had requested for it to be played, I'm being told it's ready, so when you're ready to cue in, you can tell me.
Okay, you can cue it in, then Tawish.
Okay.
Cue it.
All right.
Ningependa kuwauliza viongozi wenzetu, Kenya hii inarudishwa nyuma na viongozi matapeli, watu ambao hawataki kusema ukweli. Mwai Kibaki alisema wakati mmoja, hata kudanganya inahitaji akili kidogo. Si namna hiyo? Sasa wewe mnatuambia mambo hii ya BBI. The biggest fraud that ever happened in the Republic of Kenya. Ya kwamba wale ambao walikuwa wanasukuma hii mambo ya BBI, saa hizi wanatuletea ukora na uongo na utapeli. Ati tulikuwa tunataka kupitisha BBI, ati ipatikane tax holiday kwa vijana. Hauhitaji kubadilisha katiba tax holiday ipatikane kwa vijana. Hauhitaji kubadilisha katiba tuwe na constituencies zingine mpya 70. Hauhitaji kubadilisha katiba tuongeze pesa inayoenda kwa counties. Mulikuwa mnataka kubadilisha katiba kwa sababu mulikuwa mnataka kutengeneza rais pepari. Mtu ambaye ataenda bunge, achague wabunge, wawe mawaziri ili aweze kucontrol bunge. Mulikuwa mnataka kuweka rais ambaye atatumia ile ombudsman kule judiciary ili aweze kumanipulate the judiciary. Lakini kwa sababu mmepatikana na aibu, kwa sababu mmegunduliwa ya kwamba mulikuwa mnataka kuturudisha nyuma, saa hizi mmechanganyikiwa, hamutaki kusema kulikuwa na ombudsman, hamutaki kusema kulikuwa na mawaziri watatoka bunge, hamutaki kusema yale mambo maovu ilikuwa imepangwa ndani ya BBI. Saa hii mnajaribu kutuuzia mambo ya ukora. Ati kulikuwa na mambo ya tax holiday. Saa hii mnajaribu kutuuzia mambo ya ukora.
All right, so that is sentiments by the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto, yesterday. All right, so that is sentiments by the
Me, I think Tamatanga has 2 microphones. The audio is doubling up.
No, it is. Is it on now?
No, it's fine.
No, you see, it was the other one I was listening to. Now, oh my Jesus Christ! You yourselves, you have heard this, Dr. Titus. You have seen. This is a man who sat in the cabinet. They all passed these resolutions together. It is, for me, I don't want to make bad judgment against anybody, but I just brought that clip for every Kenyan watching, thinking that we are biased. We are not biased against Ruto. We are now going to look at the analysis. His own lips saying that there is a situation where some conmen, they sat down, wanasema taxi relief. Who is now a conman here? Because you are in the cabinet. You sat with the president. You kept on going to the cabinet when BBI issue was brought. You never objected to the BBI. You never gave your views. You even gave names of people to go and, I don't know where the sound is coming from. It's not my side, because is it okay, Miriam, now?
It is okay now. It's fine from our end.
So, in a nutshell, Miriam, we have a problem. A man talks, he forgets what he talked. A man was in a meeting, a man was in a cabinet, a man was part of the decision. When it is a distance, when it is a bad thing, the distance between Lunga and Moyale, Ruto, when it is negative on Uhuru Kenyatta, it can be measured in terms of distance between Lunga and Moyale. When it is a good thing that is good, is associated with. Now, who is more of a bad person here? A matapeli who is a con person? It is up to you Kenyans to make a decision. But for us, who observers, I'm an observer. I'm not going to direct Kenyans to vote the way they want. They will vote the way they want. I will not say don't vote. I am saying, you have seen the way we are forming our journey towards election. Tawish, I don't know what comments you would make after seeing that clip. And then, is it not populist? Is it not populist? What else will you tell? Will you tell? And it ties up with the headline on the Standard, which says, to me, and my scientist friend can tell me whether the biological traits can trace of a man who is just running to pace set. This guy could be pace setting for someone. Is he not a pace setter? We should look at that. The type of words is, you know, the relationship between him and Uhuru Kenyatta is gone. If you, as a psychologist, I could try to say their relationship is completely broken. Now, he has known that he might not be on the ballot. Therefore, what he's doing is to do the real damage and later on pace set for somebody else whom we will say Tosha. It brings me to the rumor which is going around that the guy could be bidding for Musalia Mudavadi. Have you heard about it, Tawish? Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Masanga. Well, maybe Kenyans are right, and you could be right as well, Dr. Masanga, to make that observation that maybe Deputy President William Ruto is a best setting for somebody else. I'm not very sure whether that person is Musalia Mudavadi or any of the people who are, of course, coalescing around him. But of course, time will tell as to whether he's in this game to the end, or is it that he's best setting for somebody else. But for William Ruto, that I know, I do not quite think that this is a man who can easily actually give up his quest, in place of someone else. You remember even in the run-up to 2013 general election, Dr. Masanga, and if our memory serves us well, I remember when we had Deputy President William Ruto, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we had Musalia Mudavadi when they were trying to craft that, of course, a coalition in the run-up to 2013 general election. It was actually an effort to bring Musalia Mudavadi in, and William Ruto is one of the leaders who really exhibited the rigidness, or rather rigidity, who said that they are not going to relinquish their position as a running mate, regardless of what Musalia Mudavadi and President Uhuru Kenyatta agreed then that his position should remain. That it's up to them to discuss which position, who is going to relinquish in favor of the other. So this is not a man whom you can quite expect that he will easily give up on his quest for presidency. But whatever happens, because this is politics, maybe things will change as we get into 2022 general election, Dr. Masanga. Second point is about Kenyans really, that they should be, I'm sure Kenyans are very wise really, Dr. Masanga, to see the lies that Deputy President William Ruto has been peddling all along. He says he cares so much about the Mama Mboga, he cares so much about the border borders, he cares so much about the downtrodden in our society, that is coming more so as an economic savior to the people of Kenya and those who are struggling really to make ends meet. The question Kenyans should be asking themselves today is that, has William Ruto gotten a chance as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya for the last 9 years? What is it that curtailed him from doing what he purports that he will be in a position to do once he becomes president come next year? That is as clear as it is, Dr. Masanga. There's no way you can tell us that you have failed to deliver to Kenyans as a deputy president, but once you become a president, you'll be in a position to do that, Dr. Masanga. I remember him promising Kenyans, in Kasarani, when Jubilee was being launched, that he will make sure that there will be 1 million jobs every year in this country. Have we had 10 million jobs ever since he came into power as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya? Let us not even go into other lofty promises he did make to Kenyans as we are getting into election. If he wasn't able to fulfill any of those pledges, how sure are we that if he becomes president, then he will be in a position to implement any of the pledges that he's making today? He hasn't done anything to the Mama Mbogas. He hasn't done anything to the borders in this country. I've not seen any tangible action he's doing towards helping the downtrodden in the society. Only heaping and giving lofty of promises and pledges every other day, just because he wants to get elected come next year. Dr. Masanga, I do not see that tenable. Another question, Dr. Masanga, is on the BBI. Indeed, we feel very, very disturbed that BBI, of course, the court has slammed the BBI. And as we speak today, maybe the Supreme Court will have to change the tide. I'm not very sure how they will be ruling on this petition in as far as the BBI is concerned. But Dr. Masanga, we must be worried so much that maybe William Ruto has gotten a footing in the court. Maybe William Ruto has captured the judiciary, has captured our courts, or some rogue elements within the judiciary. Because you cannot understand how William Ruto speaks with almost authority, undisputed authority, that the reggae will stop, and suddenly the courts come and actually stop the BBI. I mean, he has spoken about the question of degrees, the education qualification for anyone who will be contesting for any elective post come the 2022 general election. And I remember it's just the other day that a judge actually in our courts ruled that it's not absolutely necessary that MCS must have this degree. So what does it tell you in essence, Dr. Masanga? That probably Dr. William Ruto, through the proxies, through his allies, the likes of Dr. David Ndii, could have gotten a footing in our courts today. And that is why you see many more often, he speaks with so much authority as regards to some very critical decisions that the courts have been making. We must also be wary, Dr. Masanga, that even as we head into 2022, we could be confident then, yes, that we will get into this election and Kenyans will make their choice. But how about if Deputy President William Ruto goes to the courts, to the Supreme Court, challenges the outcome of the election, and maybe he's granted? These are some of the things we need to weigh critically, Dr. Masanga. As I finalize on my points, Dr. Masanga, I want to thank you so much, and I think Kenyans really owe it to you, that there are so many things you have championed in this country, some of which have come to pass. For example, the redemption strategy. Were it not for the crusade you have been leading ever since, to ask President Uhuru Kenyatta, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, to bury the political hatchet and work towards the unity of purpose? Well, will we be having the Kenya we have today? Will we be having Deputy President William Ruto moving around the country today campaigning for presidency come 2022? You've been championing for this. I remember also you've been asking the people of Kenya, or even Africa, really to have a social welfare, so that even a person who is very poor, the poorest of all, Dr. Masanga, at least they can afford a meal, at least they can afford somewhere to sleep, in as much as they cannot have a luxurious life. That is why the engineer, Raila Amolo Odinga, is coming with this suggestion, is coming with this social welfare proposal, that perhaps it is time we must have this anchored in our constitution, anchored in terms of policy, so that the downtrodden in the society, those people who are less privileged, people who cannot afford at least food or a meal a day, can have 6,000 shillings so that they can be able to afford some of these basics. I don't think that is too much really to ask. As I finalize, Dr. Masanga, William Ruto continues to speak to Kenyans. He continues to tell them how BBI is bad or has been bad, for the simple reason that it was going to create more positions, maybe 5 for that matter. But he hasn't come out and told us about the other good things, the many good things that BBI was carrying along. If you talk about additional constituency for people who feel like they're underrepresented, what is wrong with that? If you talk about giving a tax relief to people who are getting out of the universities or colleges for a period of 7 years so that they can get a footing before they can now get seriously, maybe get employed or get to do business, what is wrong with that? If you talk about getting a ward development fund, 100 million for every ward in this country, Dr. Masanga, what is wrong with that? I mean, Dr. Ruto talks about just, an atom of what was contained in the BBI in terms of creating positions, 5 positions, that of the Prime Minister, and 2 maybe for Deputy Prime Minister. But he hasn't quite come and told us how about the Central Kenya people who are asking about the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. He hasn't quite spoken about that. So he cannot come and blanketly condemn BBI and say it was wrong or it was intended really to just create position. How about all other things? How about the fight against corruption? How about strengthening Chapter 6 on integrity, Dr. Masanga? I think these are some of the things that William Ruto really feared and he continues to fear about BBI. So he's just camouflaging and hiding behind the creation of the Prime Minister position and 2 Deputy Prime Minister's position as the only thing that BBI was coming along with. But in my understanding, Dr. Masanga, BBI was the sole remedy. It was the magic bullet to most of the Kenya's perennial problems. And Dr. Masanga, if you allow me just a minute to talk about the preparedness ahead of the 2022 general election. You've talked about the Kriegler Commission recommendation, Dr. Masanga. All of us really seem to agree that it was the best advice, it was the best recommendation, that you cannot go to an election when you do not have IEBC fully constituted 2 years to elections. We've just had the commissioners coming into place. In fact, Chebukati himself seems a very confused fellow. He doesn't know quite whether we are going to get into this election. He doesn't know whether IEBC itself is prepared or not. I mean, you're asking as to why people are not even inspired to go and register as voters, because IEBC itself, as currently constituted, does not inspire confidence in Kenyans to go and even register as voters, because they feel, why should we even go and register in the first place when IEBC itself is not even prepared to give us a free, fair, and credible election come 2022. So, Dr. Masanga, in final, as I finalize on this, I believe Kenyans are not ready to have elections in August 2022. Maybe it is time, if the Supreme Court is going to grant BBI to proceed, we go back and make sure that BBI passes before now we can get back into dealing with the elections. I submit, Daktari.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much, all of you. I just want to, Miriam, to read for us main sticking points out of the editor's memo, which you have that side. You have any? Oh, I have.
You do have.
They have been sent to me, but if they are not available, I want to give each of you parting shot. I will start with our guest today, Dr. Titus Mitwili. Please, your parting shot in 1 minute.
Dr. Matanga, my plea to my countrymen is that we need a country after 2022. And you've seen, and we've seen what happened to the United States because of the recklessness of leaders. It's the high time to know it doesn't matter how advanced an economy is, if there is no respect on how we put forth our arguments and on how we call our people into action. It doesn't matter if we are a first country or a third world country. Ones are lethal, ones are venomous, and they can crumble and crush any kind of democracy. It is my appeal to all leaders to use their words sparingly, to at least bring their emotions into the right place. When someone is attacked, how should they respond? When someone is upset, what should they say? Because you cannot have a leader who gets so puffed up, because when that happens, they can burn the country within a second. It is my plea that let us all strive to have peace, tranquility, and an environment where elections can be held in a free and fair atmosphere. When we do this, then we can be assured of having a country after the next elections. Thank you very much. I submit.
Yes, Miriam, take over.
All right, thank you. I think that's could be a nice point to conclude the show today. But Sharon, is there anything else you'd like to add to that, your final submission?
Thank you very much, Miriam, and my colleague panelists for your submission. And if I would give my parting shot, number one, I'd love to say that let's endure to, have the mature politics generally, whereby, when we preach the, we embrace the politics of tolerance, we shelve of, tribal and identical politics. And then for IEBC, I think it should be a wake-up call that so much needs to be done. There's very little that has been done, when you talk about kids, when we talk about procurement systems, when we talk about systems, have they been improved? Remember, there's also the question of transparency and trust when it comes to IEBC. So unless they come out clear to assure us that what happened, what the wrongs that were done during the last year's elections have been clarified, all the loopholes have been sealed. And then also on the issue, I think we need a redemption strategy, just like Dr. Matanga keeps on talking about. And I really pray and hope that the Supreme Court is going to rule, is going to give a ruling on the back of the BBI, because this is what is going to help us get to the redemption strategy. Finally, like I mentioned early in the morning about the leaders that we have on board, us as voters, we need to be very cautious on the leaders. Even now, as the political temperatures are very high, and every other politician is giving us, manifestos and what they intend to do. Let's be very cautious of leaders that have been there over and over, giving empty promises. In fact, I was looking at one of the editorial cartoon that I don't know if Miriam had an opportunity to see it. I think it's on Daily Nation, where they were talking about, a garbage, a lorry that is garbage that, is inciting with the same manifestos that we're used to jobs, these are the same things that we've had over and over, and yet there's no change that we have seen. So let us hold leaders accountable, and leaders who are, these are leaders that have been giving empty promises. And let's know also that choices have consequences. And I'll leave with a saying that says, a thorn with which you prick yourself on your own accord does not hurt. So we make the choices ourselves, and if anything happens, let us not question the government. I submit.
And then we get the leaders that we deserve, right? Okay. Thank you so much, Sharon Gitonga. Thank you, Samuel Tawish, and to our guest today, Titus Mutwiri. Hopefully you'll be finding more time to be joining us in some of these shows. Thank you so much for your sentiments today. Very much appreciated. And indeed, thank you, Dr. David Matanga. My name is Miriam Ogotu. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.